Welcome. In almost every architecture conversation you will hear the words layer and tier used, sometimes interchangeably, as though they mean the same thing. They do not, and confusing them leads to real mistakes in how you scale and deploy software. In this video, we will draw a clear line between the two. The confusion is understandable. Both layers and tiers are tools for organizing a system, and both show up as stacked boxes on a whiteboard. But one is about how you organize your code, and the other is about where that code actually runs. Using the wrong mental model means you might try to scale something you cannot, or pay for infrastructure you do not need. Think of a restaurant. There are clearly distinct jobs. Someone takes the order, someone cooks the food, and someone manages the pantry. Those are logical roles, layers of responsibility. Now all three people could share one kitchen, or the prep work could happen in a separate facility across town. That physical arrangement, one building or two, is the tier question. Same responsibilities, very different deployment. Here are the three classic layers: presentation at the top, business logic in the middle, and data at the bottom. Each layer has a single clear responsibility. The presentation layer renders information and captures input, the business logic layer enforces rules and coordinates work, and the data layer manages persistence. These layers exist in almost every application. The critical question is, are they running on the same machine or on separate machines? That distinction, one machine versus many, is what determines the number of tiers. A request always travels through the same logical path. It arrives at the presentation layer, moves down to business logic, then reaches the data layer, and the result flows back up. That logical path is fixed. It is the layer design. What changes between a one-tier and a three-tier system is not that path, but how many network hops separate those steps. In a one-tier system, the entire path runs inside one process. In a three-tier system, each step crosses a network boundary to a different machine. Here is the head-to-head. A layer is a code-level boundary. It makes your code base cleaner and easier to change, but everything still runs in one process with no network involved. A tier is a deployment boundary. The business logic server is a different machine from the database server, which means you can scale them independently, but every crossing of that boundary costs you a network round trip and adds operational overhead. More tiers means more flexibility and more complexity, not just more boxes on a diagram. Layers are free. Always separate your code into clear responsibilities. Tiers, however, carry a real cost in latency and infrastructure, so introduce them only when you have a concrete reason. Ask yourself, do different parts of my system need to scale at different rates? Does security require isolation between components? If yes, add a tier. If not, stay on fewer tiers. You can always keep three layers running happily on a single tier. To close, a layer is about how you structure your code, and a tier is about where that code runs. These are orthogonal ideas. You can have three well-defined layers, all running on one machine, or those same three layers, each deployed on their own server cluster. Always use layers for clarity. Add tiers only when your scaling, security, or team boundaries genuinely demand it.